Hi everyone, it's Charlotte. Today we're going to be learning about pointillism, and I'm going to be showing you a few techniques on how to make some paintings using lots of tiny coloured dots. So what is pointillism? Well, it was developed by the French artist George Seurat, and he was one of the founders of neo-impressionism. He was born in 1859, and neo-impressionism was quite different to impressionism. So if you don't know, impressionism is artists like Monet and Renoir, and their style was quite free. They painted outside. George Seurat and his pointillism technique is much less free and more scientific. So his technique involved painting lots and lots of tiny dots to create an image like this one of the Eiffel Tower. And if you look closely at some of his paintings like this, you should be able to see that the dots are all different colours. One of his most famous paintings, this one, A Sunday on Le Grand Jatte. This is actually a huge big painting that it took 2 years for him to make. If you look really closely, you'll see lots of yellow and blue dots within the green. But when you look at the painting from far away, you can only see the green, so it's kind of like an optical illusion. And then if we look at some of the clothing of some of the people in the painting, from far away it looks purple, but if we look really close up, we can see that there's actually just dots of blue and red together. Okay, so that's two of the primary colours painted really close together, and then when we look far away it gives the illusion of a secondary colour, which is purple. So what I've done here is I've done a few pages, just plain pages from my sketchbook, and I've just done some experimenting on different techniques to try and get the effect of pointillism. So I'm going to show you how I did some of these ones. Okay, so I'm going to just start with two colours to show you some of the different techniques that you can use. So the first one is to use some cotton buds. Now I've got some eco-friendly ones here. They're made from bamboo instead of plastic, so they are a lot better for the environment. So if you can get some of those, that would be really good. But if you've got some plastic ones already at home that you want to use up, then that's fine. Just make sure they're disposed of correctly. We want to make sure we've got one cotton bud for each colour that we're using so that they don't get mixed up. So we'll start with the yellow, and we'll just put a little bit of water on the end of the cotton bud, and we'll dip it in the paint, and I just give it a little bit of a twist to get rid of any excess paint on the edges. And it doesn't really matter if you're just doing some experiments where you start. So I'm just doing dots on the page, and then we'll add the blue in between the yellow ones. So that's the size that you get with the cotton bud. You can do it with the end of a pencil. If it's got an eraser at the end, that's probably better because it's smoother. So we just dip it in the paint and do the same thing. Then we just wipe off the old paint, and we can do the same with the blue. So you can get some even bigger dots using the ends of the pencil. Now if you want it to be, the dots to be smaller, it's obviously going to take a lot longer, but it will look more effective. So you can either do that with the end of a paintbrush, and wipe off again. Or you can do it with the brush end of the paintbrush. So take a little water, and I'm using acrylic paints here, but you could use poster paints or even watercolours would work as well. And it just depends on how thin your brush is as to how small your dots. And you won't get such a perfect circle as well with some of the other techniques. And then we'll do the blue. Okay, so hopefully you can see the difference between all the different tools that we've used there. It's quite a different effect with all of them, but obviously using the smaller dots will take a lot longer. So it's up to you what you try first. It might be easier to try with bigger dots and see how you get on and then move on to using smaller dots. But just have a little practice. If you don't have paints at home, you could also try this technique with some felt tip pens. So you might find if you're not used to using a paintbrush, you might have a bit more control with a pen. So I'm going to start showing you how I created this poppy using the cotton buds and the acrylic paint. I used a picture from my garden of a poppy, and it's quite good to do something simple like this to start off with, because it takes a long time to get lots of detail in with the pointillism technique. Okay, so I started in the middle with my poppy with the yellow centre. So I've mixed a few yellows. I've got some lemon yellow with a little bit of white to make a lighter one. And then I was just going to show you how to darken colours without adding black, because sometimes black can make colours too dark and it doesn't give quite the right shade. So if we look at our colour wheel, and we look at, we've got our three primary colours, we've got red, yellow and blue. If we look at the opposites of our colours on the colour wheel, they're called the complementary colours, and it will be a secondary colour. So the complementary of red is green, and complementary of yellow is violet or purple. So if we add a little bit of complementary colour to the colour that we're using, it darkens it but not too much. So I'm just adding the purple here, just a tiny bit of purple, and it's still yellow but it's just a little bit darker, so that's a good trick. We'll start with the centre, which is really almost white. So we'll do a really white yellow and we'll just start adding some dots. Just ignore the blue dot, that was an accident. So I'm adding this purple around the outside of the yellow because you can't really see it in my photograph, but you can see it a little bit more in real life on the poppy. But what the purple will do is just to help that yellow be a lot brighter on the page, because yellow and purple are complementary colours. I'm going to do the same with some of the red and just mix a little green in with it, which is red's complementary colour, and it just creates a nice darker red. You'll see that I haven't used a pencil to draw an outline. I'm just using my paint to draw the outline. But if you feel more comfortable, you could use a light pencil just to get the right shape. So then we're going to go in with some darker and lighter shades, just so we can get some of the highlights and shadows. Okay, so as you can see, I haven't finished this one yet. I just wanted to give you an outline of what different dots I was using and where. And it will come out similar to this one that I did earlier. You can see that I've done lots and lots of different colours, all really close together, so there's hardly any white space on the petals, and the leaves and the stem could do with a little bit more work, so more different shades of green and perhaps some yellow and blue in there as well to bring out the green, just to fill in all these white spaces. And you can see that I've used some white and some much darker shades of red to show the highlights and the shadows of the poppy. So you can have a really fun experiment with pointillism using all the different techniques like we did before with the cotton bud, the pencil and the paintbrush, or even felt tip pen. And you could perhaps try painting a simple flower that you find in your garden, maybe a sunflower. That would be quite easy to do because they're just two main colours, or a poppy like this one. Try not to do anything too complicated at the beginning because it does take a lot of time to do all these dots. This one took me quite a while, probably at least an hour to do all of this. So start off small and see how you get on, and then you can build to much bigger paintings. Thanks for watching everyone. I hope you get a chance to experiment with pointillism at home. See you again soon. Bye!